this is aerobic work. Okay, so you have to lay a foundation. Yes, we have the video on. Sweet! So aerobic work is under a few key things, right? One, it's going to increase free fatty acid utilization to help you metabolize more fat for energy. That's a efficient but slow process, which is why this doesn't work well when you're trying to run 5-10 pace. That makes sense? It increases capillary density, okay, to get more blood flow working muscles, and you also increase aerobic I can't spell it, aerobic enzymes, right, to help kind of basically extract, utilize the mitochondria better to get aerobic energy development, right? So you have to do some of this, whether this is going to be a 10-mile easy run once a week, or whether it's going to be, again, some like 6 to 8 minute runs at like a 6.5 out of 10 intensity, okay, with like, a 1 or 2 minute light jog, and you're repeating that for 45 minutes. That's also an aerobic workout. Does that make sense? Okay, so this is very, very, very important to lay a foundation. If you came and saw me today, which is end of May, and you're saying, hey, I'm looking to lay a foundation for the rest of my season, then this is probably a little bit more important. If you said, hey, I've been training and I need to ramp up my lactate stuff because I have some 5Ks, 10Ks coming up, this is more important. So my point is, this is seasonally important. It's important all year long in some aspect, right? But the focus here doesn't have to be all this first. Depends on where you are, okay? You don't have much of this right now. You don't, right? From what you've been doing. So that's okay. You'll build this, okay? But this is where I see the biggest black hole right now. I guarantee if you put some time in threshold work, you're going to see your times drop pretty quick, okay? So let's go this for a second. What is your lactate threshold?
From what I understand, it's the ability. So lactate accumulates at a certain effort level.
Is lactate good or bad?
That's a trick question.
No, it's not. It's not a trick question. People think it is, but it's not.
It's good.
Yes. Why?
Because it's like a secondary fallback for your body to use energy, sort of. No.
It's food. Remember I just told you? This is very efficient, but it's slow.
Yeah.
If you run faster, what do you need? Food for your muscles to work.
Yeah.
So guess what your body says? This is taking too damn long.
So, yeah.
Okay, what else have I got?
Yeah.
Oh, lactate. Great. Okay, let's take lactate, and body says, awesome.
Is it a
What
byproduct?
No, it's not. It's actually
Okay.
food. Okay, so what do you do with lactate? This is where I don't expect you to know all these things. You take lactate and you separate it into two chemicals. One's called pyruvate, which is still good food. And the second is a hydrogen ion. Your body uses pyruvate to keep driving muscle contractions. The hydrogen ion is the equivalent of pouring acid on top of your body. After a while, your pH is going to drop so low that your body says, wow, I can't actually contract muscle anymore because my enzymes became so acidic they don't work. That's when you reach a point of acidity, okay? Lactate threshold is a dumb word people use to make sense of good or bad, whatever. But basically what it's saying is your intensity is so high, you can't clear lactate fast enough to get it out of your body. If pH drops, cells can't work down here, you go explode.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. So lactate is a good thing. And what you want to do is not stop using it, you want to use it, because this takes too damn long, right? You want to get your body good at buffering lactate accumulation. So what you want to do is train not at a 5-10 pace. You want to train just under your lactate threshold, okay? You can be fancy with this and have this done in the lab, but all research out there in the entire world shows, if I say, Nathan, what's a 7.5 out of 10 effort for you? Most athletes are like within like a second or two away from nailing their own lactate threshold. You can have a sensory feedback of like, wow, this is the point where I feel like, yeah, 7.5 out of 10, that's your lactate threshold. You train just below your lactate threshold because you want to produce lactate, but you want to get your body good at buffering that stuff out of your system, okay? If you train too much over your lactate threshold, which is what you're doing right now, okay, what happens is you train over, okay, and that puts a big metabolic stress in your body. And yes, you can run that way, have no doubt you can, but what happens is your body goes, wow, that really was a huge workload effort, right? And so your body is exhausted, okay? okay, trying to heal from that workout. Because again, body takes 11 to 14 days to recover from a workout session. Okay, so I think that your threshold runs need to be a certain dosage, right? I want 1 to 2 of these a week, okay? And these need to be in that 7.5 out of 10 intensity zone, okay? These need to be done in about, let's say, 20 to 40 minutes of time, okay? So what that means is that's total time for the workout per session.
Okay.
Repeat this with me. More is not better.
More is not better.
Thank you. You got that video? Okay. It doesn't mean you have to do 40 minutes twice a week. Okay. Do not read this as that. Okay.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, that's not.
Please don't do that. Okay.
Okay.
There are times you might do 1 for 40 minutes. There are times where 2 for 20 are probably just as effective. Okay.
Are these continuous efforts?
No, not at all.
It's more. It can't be interval based.
I want it interval based.
Okay.
Yeah. Because here's why. Nobody can run faster than lactate threshold for a certain time before they start becoming what? Too acidic. We want to clear, okay? So again, training is basically training your body to do something. If I say, all right, I'm going to give you a new web code, I give you this project you've never done before, you're like, I don't know how to do that.
I've been there.
And what happened? You're like, this sucks, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and you fail, okay? I don't want you to fail. I want you to go, oh, been here before,
Yeah.
familiar, great, let's challenge the situation, right?
Yes.
That's what training is. Training is not trying to go run a 430 mile, right? It's like, that would be stupid, I wouldn't do that. This is lactate threshold work. You are trying to get your body to produce more lactate and get it out, right? Not trying going up here too high. Okay, now, let me just take a little tangent. I can make the argument for over-unders, right? Where you're doing stuff, it's like, let's say 10% above your lactate threshold and then 10% below. So like 6.5 out of 10 for 3-4 minutes, 8.5 out of 10 for 3 or 4 minutes, and cycling that way. Those workouts do have a purpose sometimes, but again, that's kind of hard throughout the week if you're trying to put one of these in. I'll get that to in a second. Okay, so that makes sense. Like there are times you can do over-unders, but you have to. That makes sense?
If you can imagine, it's like a sine wave, like the net
Totally.
out of the median
Exactly.
and the sine wave. Yeah, it would be the lactate or close lactate.
Right.
threshold.
So there are times to do that, right? But that should be on your lactate work, okay? But lactate work intervals are typically work well in like the 4 to 10 minute range. Okay, so I'm not gonna say you can't do a 20-minute tempo run. You can. I wouldn't do a 40-minute tempo run. But if you want to say I'll go 2 times for 10 minutes, or you want to do 1 for 20 once in a while, I wouldn't be against that. But most of your stuff is like in the 40-minute to 10-minute range for tempo work, right? Because it's not that hard. Right? I mean, you should say, yeah, I don't really need a break, but I'll take one.
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
And that needs to be done again 1 or 2 times a week, 7.5 out of 10 effort, 20 to 40 minutes total on time. Now, yeah, you might have a warm up and cool down in there, but I mean, you're busy. I keep hearing that for you over and over again. I'm busy. You don't need to do this, okay? A quality workout for you is go do your dynamic stuff. We'll get to that later, right? Spend a 5 to 10 minute easy run, getting things circulated, maybe doing some bounds or whatever, and that's fine. But a 20-minute tempo run and like a half-mile cool down, you're done.
Yeah. Cool.
Like you don't have to make this an hour-long workout, okay? Got that video? All right, that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, so this is an energy system with a purpose.
Yes.
This is an energy system with a purpose, okay? This energy system, which it sounds like you've been doing, okay, what's your VO2 max?
I don't. Oh, you're asking like hypothetically, like generically?
Well, no, just what is a VO2 max?
It's the maximum amount of oxygen that your body can use at a certain effort level, from what I understand.
Perfect.
At a certain point, you then transition to the anaerobic energy system. I don't know if that's entirely accurate, but
It's actually quite good.
okay.
So what we're trying to do is we're trying to basically push needle on that, right? So think about this, just in a simple way, I need everything to work here.
Mm-hmm.
I need aerobic and anaerobic to come together and basically go to full bore, okay? When you work your VO2 system, you get all the changes you get here, okay, in a very short period of time. More is not better,
Okay.
okay? For this, I'm looking for 100% efforts, okay? The total length of those efforts, okay, is much less than our tempo efforts. We're going to do
Right.
4 to 10 minute intervals here. Okay, over here, I want the total volume of time for the entire workout session to be 10 to 12 minutes total. Okay, for the entire session. Okay, now you may have a warm up, you may have a cool down, you might have some jogs between efforts, right? So that could wind up being, I mean, going back to when I used to do stuff, we used to be, you know, I might hit 10 miles of those workouts on the track sometimes, right? But again, your on time is really short, okay? You don't have to do that much, okay? But you can. But my point is, this is short but intense, okay? No one on earth can maintain a VO2 max intensity more than about 5 to 7 minutes. Some sources say 4 to 6, but so my point is, you can't run 7 minutes all out, or you can't run 10 minutes all out, right? You can run 5 to 6 to 7 maybe, right? And then everybody's performance does what? Okay, so the goal is every one of your efforts shouldn't be pushing the limit, right? Your interval should be what? In like the 1 to 4, maybe 5 minute range. Does that make sense? So much shorter intervals, okay? I'm gonna put 1 to 5 minutes, but optimal, okay? Can you read this? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You're narrating
We'll get a
it,
picture,
so we'll
right?
figure it out.
Optimal is probably, my handwriting just sucks. Optimal is probably in the 2 to 4 minute per interval, okay, range. Okay, so again, this might be 5 times, right? That's a workout session.
Yep.
Okay, now if you're like, okay, let's take your example before. If you're going around with your buddy and you're hitting those workouts every other minute, okay, or I'm saying, let's just say you do 90-second quarters, keep it
Okay,
simple,
sure,
right? You do 90-second quarters, take a 90-second rest, right? That's a 1-to-1 interval, right? If you put 90-second intervals, like, wow, I can hit 2 of them, but after that point I'm dead, I have to take double the rest.
Mm-hmm.
You're doing too fast, right? So you set these to basically, I would say, probably to start with, in a 2 to 1, okay? And what you do is I want you to eventually work the rest interval down first before you try to increase the speed too far, okay? The speed should be high, yes, okay, but again, you're trying to condition your system. If you're doing a sprint, you're resting way too long. You're doing a sprint, you're resting way too long. That's not pushing you to get VO2 max adaptations.
So I have a question right there on that point. So let's say all out for like a 400 meter, I can run somewhere between 58 and 60 seconds. How far back from that would this point be in a time if that's
What would you run 4 in? If I said run 4 of those efforts.
4 of them, and if it's a 400 meter,
Mm-hmm.
probably in a good day, probably 67, 68.
67,
About-
68.
Yeah, that's about mile.
That's
about
what it would
mile
be.
goal pace,
Because
basically.
again, you're not trying to hit 2 or 3 or 4, you're trying to hit 5 or 6,
Yeah,
right? So
yeah.
my point is, do something, do it. Like when you pick a time, go, okay, I'm gonna hit 8 of these, right?
Mhm.
Again, those intervals take, they don't take you 2 minutes, right? So I'm gonna hit, or 10, whatever it's gonna be. I can say, my goal is to hit 10 of these, not to hit 4 of them and then have to add 20 seconds per lap, right? So
Yeah.
you would have a workout that's doable. And some of this is trial and effort, right? I mean, trial and error. You'll learn, wow, that was too fast, that was too slow, whatever. That was an easy workout,
I
right?
would say that for something like that, probably couldn't do more than 5 or 6 at that pace.
Yeah, so then even that's too fast. That's my point. That makes
Yeah.
sense. Like if you're only putting in a short effort of like, say 65 to 72 seconds, right? That's not this long, right? So
Right.
how much volume do we need? 10 to 12 minutes, right? So that time needs to go up,
Yes.
right? So
That
yeah,
makes
I know you can sprint past things.
Mm-hmm.
That's not how you win a 5K,
Nope.
right? That's not, again, energy systems matter, okay? And so yeah, think about it that way, right? So this is, and again, life is busy, right? So I would say you can have a like elite level training program off of 4 days of running a week if you wanted to, okay? 1 to 2, 1 to 2, and 1 or none days per week, okay? So if this is 2, this might be 1, that might be 1, it's 4 days a week, okay? This might be 1, that might be 2, that might be 1. This might be 2, that might be 2, because you only do these every we do 1, 2, 3, you skip your 4th week. That makes sense in your VO2 max work, right? So you'll do these, we have 4 weeks. You got check, 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 off. Okay, Reason why, these workouts are very demanding and taxing. You should leave this mentally drained, okay? Like I left everything I had on the track, I'm dead, I'm done. Don't talk to me, I just wanna go home and go to sleep,
Yeah,
okay?
yeah.
You can't do this every day,
No.
right? Okay. And again, it takes 11 to 14 days to recover from a workout, so what's that mean? If you do this on Tuesday, next Tuesday, you're still not recovered.
Yeah.
Next Tuesday, you're still not recovered. It's why I gave you a break from the last week. That makes sense? To basically catch up and get back and actually some things compensate
Just
and
kind
get
of
better.
like that there, yeah.
Okay. I can take any runners, smart runners, program from any program across the world, and you can look at their workouts and put them all in one of these 3 slots. There's no magic in this. The magic is, gee, okay, you did this on a Tuesday, and therefore it takes you 48 hours to recover from that pretty well before you want to put a tempo run in, or maybe you want to do tempo run the day after. Maybe you want to do tempo run right after this workout, which I've done before too sometimes, okay? Maybe you want to have your long run spaced 3 days after. Those things you have to figure out how you recover and how you adapt to demands, right? I mean, we have a 7-day work week with work schedules, I get that, but like, you know, this takes time, right? This doesn't take that much time, okay? This doesn't take that much time. So these can be done during the week after work, no problem, right?
Oh, yeah.
This is an after weekend thing, I get it, right? But does that make sense? Like, this isn't that hard to think about, like, reinventing the wheel. What's the purpose of the run? My purpose of the run is to work on some aerobic development. Great. Do a long, easy run. What's the purpose? To work on some lactate work. Good. Do one of these. What's the purpose? To go kill it and work VO2 max. Pick one of those. Okay? That's it. Okay, I mean, I think just getting into some type of like, what's my goal of this run, right? And then stick to that goal. And I always tell people, if you're only 200 buddies, okay, so this is the one word of caution I tell everybody, it sounds to me like your friend's aerobic system is way more developed than yours. So if they're going on an easy run and they're like conversational at 6:50, 7:10, that's way too hard for you. That makes sense? This needs to be an easy run. Okay, I tell people if I said, okay, we're gonna run for, I don't know, you pick 45 minutes, 50 minutes, an hour, right? If I said run another 30, 40%, you'd be like, fine, you don't have to, right? But like, you can run one longer because this should be completely conversational easy. Okay? That makes sense? Like easy. Like I can just cruise, right? This is time on feet, aerobic development. You don't have to hit this hard. Okay?
Well, that's always my philosophy, easy on the easy days. Never like hard on the easy days.
Right. I think you're doing some of this, and you're doing some stuff and just sprint work, and this is not getting even teased. Okay. So look at the most accomplished coach of all time, Jack Daniels, has got more Olympic or World Championship medals than any other coach in world history.
Right.
And you say, how many miles do you need to run a week to do well, to medal? What's the answer?
I don't know what Jack Daniels would say, but I guess as many as you need, which isn't Cam Levins. It's not 120 miles a week, and there are some people probably run as low as like 45 or 50, I would guess.
Even lower than that, yeah. So it'll tell you a simple answer, as little as possible. Okay. He has produced Olympic medals and world titles at 35 to 125 miles a week.
So huge range.
It's stupid, right?
Yeah.
So it's I have to hit 90 miles a week, and based upon what?
Yeah.
You can look at science all day long. I'm a scientist, so I do this stuff, right? But like, look at real world outcomes. If you're seeing that big of a span, there is no magic number, right? Run economy is important, yes, but if you train economy in the right way by having proper formalized things, you don't have to just run more, right? You can think about form, okay? And you can get some quality work out and then be done and go have a life or recover, right? I mean, like, how about that? So, you don't have to hit. I'm not giving you numbers what these workouts need to be because you have to find out how you adapt to these things, right? But you don't have to get back to 55 just because you were 55 a long time ago. Last time you ran competitively, guess what you had? A big support network, lots more time to sleep and rest and recover. What do you have now? A job, somebody to hang out with, right? Like life, okay? So you need to allow time for those things. All take away stress and mental time you've got to deal with. So I think, I would say look at your plan for the week or the month or whatever, make something out and just go with it, right? And if you have one of those days where you're like, wow, I'm supposed to put a VO2 max session in, you're like, I'm dead, I'm done. Do me a favor, don't do it, okay? Do one of these, probably, I wouldn't even do one of these. I just do an easy run because it was telling you is I am so exhausted from everything else I've got going on in my life. I cannot put a solid effort in today. Don't try and slog through because these, remember, need to be 100%, not 92%. Okay, if you go in there and say it's a hard day, I'm gonna grunt through and hit my first quarter in 67, and my next one is 75, the next one is 78. There's no point in doing it.
Waste of time.
Yeah, go back to you. Take an easy day. Your brain's fried. Okay, or you're not recovered, one of the two, right? So just think about being smart, right? Stick to a plan, be flexible, right? If you, again, if you've got a big project deadline, you're not sleeping one night, I mean, that's not the time to do this workout, okay? But I think looking at this framework to think about where am I running, how am I running, what's my goal of this run, super simple.
Spit that out there.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah, for sure. Deep breath.
Yeah.
In, deep breath out.
You can kill it for now.